Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for listening in. We are going to talk about a psychic intuitive skill that is often not talked about and ignored, not purposely, of course, but basically because we don't understand its significance and importance, and that is intuitive vibrational sensitivity. We're going to talk about this because it's a very important psychic intuitive skill to have with intuiting the physical body with medical intuition. It can also be very useful in other types of intuitive work, psychic work, but it's a tool, a psychic tool for tuning into the physical body, understanding our health, wellness, and also for healing. It's, in fact, probably best kind of experienced with healers. If you've ever had a Reiki session or another type of energy type of healing, um, you will have felt a flow of energy move through your body. People that do healing work um, will feel the feeling of energy moving through their hands, primarily through the palms of their hands. Sometimes it can feel like it's also moving energy through the solar plexus. Um, and if you're receiving that energy, you'll feel it, kind of like a tingle or an energy flow through the body. Now, we're going to be talking, like I said, about vibrational sensitivity today. And most of what I'm talking about is going to also be found in my new book, Develop Your Medical Intuition. So feel free, please, to take a look at that book. You can get it on Amazon. The publisher is Llewellyn. So, of course, you can also buy it on Llewellyn's website. And it's in many bookstores. Um, we're going to hopefully do a couple exercises today with vibrational sensitivity. Again, these exercises are in the book if you want to also read them over. Um, we are vibration. When it's interesting because when a medical intuitive tunes into the physical body, what we're tuning into is actually the vibration, the energy of the body. When a physician, a conventional physician, works with someone who is ill or suffering in some way, they tend to focus more on the physical aspects of the body, the denser vibration of the energy. Um, Medical intuitives, because it's an energy type of work in terms of being able to perceive the subtle layers of the body and interpret the energy information through the mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical energy systems, and then be able to kind of interpret that again into a kind of information that's helpful to either someone you're working with or for yourself. And this is why vibrational sensitivity is so important because um, all of life is vibration. We are vibration. We're minuscule molecules and we're just vibrating and vibrating. And because we're in the physical world, our vibration is a little denser. Um, the higher we go in terms of energy, spirit, the higher the vibration is. Divine life force energy is a very high light vibration. It doesn't, it has this purity to it, and so it vibrates at a speed that we in the physical world cannot always perceive. When people go over to the other side is actually just a higher vibration of energy that we, through our physical senses, aren't able to fully comprehend, connect, and see. Now, some of us can sense when we are connecting to the other side or the spirit realm, but it's always there, even though it's not in our denser vibration. Uh, Really, to be healthy, to be the best that we can be, um, we the higher vibration we have, the healthier we are, because what that means is that we're flowing with a higher speed of energy, a light energy, a divine life force that's unencumbered. It's not stagnant. And when the body is flowing with energy, when all our systems are working with one another in unison, then it's this wonderful, wonderful kind of it's hard to describe, but this light show of energy that intersects and integrates throughout all of our systems. And it's kind of just this miraculous, it's hard to even conceive all these different systems in our body, how they weave in and out of one another, nurture one another, interact so that we can make, just slight movements, that we can understand things, that we can use our mind, that we can wiggle our toes. All of our systems are moving with energy. And that energy flow, when we read the physical body intuitively, is incredibly important to be able to tune into. Um, Part of the reason why, obviously, is that, you know, that's why we get ill. That's why we suffer, is a lot of times is our energy is not flowing. It's stagnant. It's blocked. And that's why medical intuition can be so important too, is that our thoughts, heavier thoughts, negativity, grief, depression, all kinds of emotional states, stress, anxiety, they all carry with it a certain vibration. And if that vibration flows through the body, or if it blocks flow through the body, that's when illness begins. When there is a blockage of some kind, when those beautiful cells and molecules and atoms and that light and energy isn't able to communicate with one another and interweave and integrate within our whole system, then there's a disruption. It's kind of, if you can imagine a beautiful flowing stream or brook, and then it gets to a blockage. There's a big log or something in the water, and so you can obviously see that that flow is interrupted, and that what's on the other side of the log might not be getting the energy it needs. It's not getting the water like the other part, and you get the imbalance, the analogy there. But that's what happens with illness, is that we have blockages in the body, and those blockages develop into, unfortunately, into things like tumors and, other kinds of restrictions. It can be as slight as a, kind of minor ache and pain in a joint or a weakness in a joint, to unfortunately full-blown significant problems with the neurological system, our brain functioning, our endocrine system, our blood flow, all of that. One little kind of disruption in that, and it affects all of our systems. So we're going to practice right now tuning into energy flow a little bit better. And, one of the ways I suggest beginning to kind of learn a little bit more about energy flow is just honestly, to observe nature a little bit more, and to, tune into the natural flow of energy that's always around us. Because as you're able to do that, you develop more of that sensitivity to it. So one of the things that I suggest is simply to, if possible, go to a river, a stream, a brook, something that's flowing. The ocean is a perfect example, because, the ocean, you can't help but feel the energy of a wave coming in. And if possible, if you can be near water, it's really good. If you can't, if you can go outside, perhaps on a windy day, is also very helpful. And just close your eyes and just sit there, breathe, relax, whether you're sitting and just feeling the energy of the ocean or a river or a windy day, is just to simply kind of settle into a relaxed state of mind, and as long as possible, feel the energy of that force. Now, if you are near a stream, it's obviously not going to be as pronounced as if you're sitting near, breaking waves in the ocean or a tumultuous ocean. But still, nonetheless, you can start to kind of tune into that flow a little bit more. One of the other things that can be quite helpful in learning how to become more sensitive to vibration and energy flow is, and this is a practice that actually can also increase psychic ability, is, especially with a pine tree. Pine trees are great conductors of intuitive energy. And if you can find a pine tree, any other tree will do too, but like I said, pine, because of its, uh, ability to really promote intuitive energy flow. Put your hands on the trunk. Put both hands on the trunk of a tree. Again, sometimes it can help to close your eyes simply because, um, you know, a lot of our energy goes out into the world visually. It's kind of always, you know, for most people, not everyone, but for most people, it can be our main kind of go-to in terms of our senses. And so whenever your senses are open like that, then you're going to find that that's where the energy flow is. So in other words, if you can close your eyes, it will increase the energy flow through your other senses. The same is true is with noise around you. If it's best always to do this work with quiet, because again, our energy senses will begin to flow through your intuition more if your physical senses are not being as well utilized. So quiet is always good. Being alone is good because again, we don't want our energy always interacting with someone else, because again, that's another way to release our energy in a way. So being alone is good. Quiet. Close your eyes. Put your hands on the trunk of a tree and just begin to feel, if you can, the energy moving through that trunk. And again, feeling the waves of an ocean just silently. You might begin to feel it in your solar plexus more. You can open your palms, is always a good idea. If you're sitting, open your palms, open to the sky. Or you can actually focus your palms right towards the wave of the ocean or a stream or a river. And because a lot of times vibrational sensitivity will come through the palms of the hands, just as healing energy comes through it kind of goes through the higher chakras, and then it transfers to someone else through the hands. The hands also, the palms can also receive energy from the world in that way. So again, you can put your palms out facing the ocean. You can put them on the trunk of a tree. The wind, you can just kind of open them to the wind and imagine and feel that energy flowing in. And then another exercise to do along with this that can be kind of interesting to do is to go from something like the ocean, like holding your palms open to the ocean, and then feeling that, and then holding a rock in your hand, a pretty good big rock in your hand, and feeling the energy of that rock. And you may notice at that point a difference. Sometimes we don't really fully recognize the flow of energy until we can feel a shift in it. So you can go from feeling something like the ocean, the trunk of a tree, to a heavier rock. And another actually really good exercise is just to open yourself to the sunlight, full sun, the rays of the sun. You can feel the vibration coming in of light through the hands in that way. And again, the solar plexus, some people will pick up more energy in the third chakra, solar plexus. You may also feel this more in the third eye area. It's also likely if you close your eyes and do this. Some people who are more clairvoyant, and in the last show that I did, we talked about clairvoyance. So if you haven't heard that one and you want to kind of catch up on that a little bit, there's another show I've done on clairvoyance in the physical body. But for some people, they actually will feel the flow of energy more through clairvoyance, which is the ability to see. Now, this is what's so interesting about medical intuition, is that in the physical world, we tend to feel like, okay, we see with our eyes, We hear with our ears, we taste with our mouth, we smell with our nose. What's interesting is that our intuitive psychic skills, which we all have, abilities, um, are not, they're much more multidimensional than the physical realm. In the physical, we're pretty, black and white. We don't see through our mouth, um, or our ears, and we don't hear through our eyes. But what's interesting, intuitively, that's not always the case. In other words, for some people, and this is why I always help people develop their intuitive psychic skills through understanding your intuitive type, is because some people will actually, and if, by the way, if you don't know what I'm just talking about when I said intuitive type, um, I have, the book Discover Your Psychic Type, and then my other books all talk about the four major ways that we, just innately receive intuitive energy information. That can be through our thoughts, a mental intuitive, through our emotions, an emotional intuitive, through the energy field, a spiritual intuitive, and through the physical body, a physical intuitive. All right, but I digress. Let me not confuse you too much. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is that what is interesting is that if you are more of a spiritual intuitive, you might actually see the flow of energy as opposed to feel it. What does that look like? And imagine this, you close your eyes, your hands are up against the trunk of the tree, and what happens is you kind of get an image, or you kind of see, and it may be an image that feels, you may feel that you're making it up. It might feel like, oh, that's kind of my imagination there working, which is fine. That is the part of our system that actually helps us interpret energy information, is our imagination. So go with it. All right. But anyway, so you may see an image, or feel an image, or know there's an image, and it might be a color like purple. A lot of times people will see energy as purple. They may see it as green, which implies healing energy. They may see energy as gold or white. A lot of times, obviously, very high vibration energy we call white light. You may see the flow of energy as white light, purple light, whatever. And you may also get a sense of its movement. It may not come through your hands. It may not come through your solar plexus. It may instead be this image where you perceive, feel, see, know light of some color, and you get a sense of how it's flowing. Now, what's interesting is an emotional intuitive who intuits more through their emotions may actually have a feeling connected with vibrational sensitivity. It might feel positive. It might feel like positive energy, love energy. It might feel an upbeat kind of, your hands are kind of focused again towards sunlight or something, and you might get a boost of energy that feels positive for you. You feel happier. So be aware that, vibrational sensitivity can come in these ways. A mental intuitive might also feel, again, that sense of positive energy, or they may have positive thoughts. They may feel, or experience, I should say, for a mental intuitive, a sense of knowing. A lot of times mental intuitives will not see the image, and they may not feel the image like a physical intuitive will feel that vibrational sensitivity as a real vibration that they can viscerally feel. A mental intuitive a lot of times will just know it, and it's just a sure knowing. It's, I don't know how I know this, I just know it. That's a common thing for a mental intuitive. So if that's your experience, don't fight it and say, well, I don't know how I know. How would I know that? I don't know. Go with it. Trust that feeling. Trust that knowing, I should say, because a mental intuitive will, it feels blocked to me, they'll say, or I don't feel like the energy's moving. So however this information comes in, go with it. Okay. Now, I do want to get to another little exercise before we're done here. And I want to do this. I'm going to combine this with clairvoyance, which again I talked about in my last show. Clairvoyance is the ability to perceive, see energy information. And clairvoyance doesn't always come in as a realistic three-dimensional image. It's not necessarily like sitting and looking at the lamp in a room or a bookshelf or out the window. Now, some people clairvoyantly will see that type of image, but if you don't, it doesn't mean you're not clairvoyant. It just means that your ability is surfacing in a bit of a different modality. Um, Many times clairvoyance will, like I said, it'll feel like your imagination, or it may feel kind of cartoon-like or exaggerated. A lot of times with medical intuition, what happens is that where there's a problem, where there's a dysfunction in the body, it will almost look like it's under a magnifying glass. It'll kind of get really big. You'll see it stronger than anything else. And that's because, if your intent is to uncover dysfunction, then your intuition will go to dysfunction and kind of blow it up so that you'll see it. So you make sure you're like, okay, here it is. Here's the dysfunction. So sometimes when we do these exercises, it may seem like the clairvoyant images are a little overstated, we'll say, or really colorful, or, you know, like you kind of know that realistically in my physical body, it probably doesn't look like that. But that's okay, like I said. Go with the images that come in. You know, mental intuitive again may not see, they might just sense, I know this is true. All right, but let's get to the exercise. We're running out of time here. All right, so what I want you to do right now is close your eyes and tune into, let's start with the stomach, because there's usually some digestion or something happening in our stomach. And I want you to imagine, close your eyes, breathe, take a nice long deep breath, relax. Take a few relaxing breaths, keeping your eyes closed again, just so that we'll have more focus. The energy will move into the stomach area. As you move your awareness into the stomach, just imagine that the stomach is a color. Just let it be any color that surfaces. It can be a realistic kind of whatever you imagine your stomach color may be, or it may just be yellow or gold or whatever it is fine. Just imagine your stomach as a color. And now, using vibrational sensitivity, imagine that there is a texture and a flow to the energy of this color. And just begin to feel that. Now, what you might want to do, if you're more of a physical intuitive, or if you just want to try this, is put the palm of your hand on your stomach. You don't have to do this. Some people it works better for than others. I tend to be more clairvoyant, so I tend to, it actually can confuse me to do that. But if it works for some people, but just sit with that for a moment and just feel the energy flow of your stomach. And tune into the color that you perceive and imagine movement there. And just take a moment to feel that energy. Just imagine, is it hard, that energy? Does it feel softer? Can you feel tension in your stomach? Maybe you feel some anxiety. What does that vibration of anxiety feel like? Or digestion? And now imagine that you can send your stomach peace. Now you can put your hand on your stomach if it's not been there, and imagine sending through your hand a vibration of love, peace, serenity. Just move that vibration into your stomach of love. And now feel the difference when you do that. Feel the difference of the flow of energy when you send love into the stomach. And you can do this to any part of your body. You can tune into the energy, the flow, the color, And then again, send it love, send it peace, serenity, and you'll begin to feel a shift in the flow, a shift in the energy. It'll feel softer. You might feel the vibration heighten or feel more positive. Just take your time and practice this exercise. So, thank you so much for listening in. Had a lot of fun doing this today. Again, this exercise, many others, are in my book, Develop Your Medical Intuition. Um, I hope you have a chance perhaps to take a look at the book. You can find out more about me on my website, www.sherriedillard.com. That's SherriedDillard.com. Please check out my books, my blog, sherriedillard.me. We will be talking again next time, next show. I want to talk more about some of the other. I identify 5 basic skills, that psychic intuitive skills that are important for medical intuition. There's clairvoyance, vibrational sensitivity that we talked about today, clairsentience, which is again, it has to do with sensing not as much about the flow vibration as vibrational sensitivity. It's a little bit more of a visceral feel of the body. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about claircognizance, which we kind of touched on today a little bit. We'll go more into that. Also, clairaudience, we will talk about that too. Many times we hear energy information. Okay, I guess we are finished for today. It was great talking to you, and I hope you all have a great day. Bye-bye.